Hello fellow makeup lovers, so I'm super excited about this video because I really wanted to go through all of the most overhyped palettes of 2017 and tell you are they really worth it? Is this really worth your money? Because I feel like there's just been, every time there's a new makeup release, it is so overhyped, it's crazy, and you'll go down your YouTube feed and it'll just be the same palette over and over and over again, which is great when you're looking for reviews and you're not sure if you're going to purchase it or not. But it's just I feel like it's just been a trend, palette after palette after palette, and I've really had to step back and say I don't need that, I don't need that, I already have that color scheme. So I just figured I'd go through the overhyped palettes that I have and talk about them and tell you which ones are worth it. There's a few palettes I'm going to mention that I don't own, either because I returned them or it's just not something that I'd be interested in, and I'll kind of give you my viewpoint on that. But let's just go ahead and get started. Most overhyped palette of 2017, I'm sure you guys already know. You can pause this video right now and write in the comment section and I guarantee you'll be right. The most overhyped palette of 2017 is the Jaclyn Hill x Morphe palette. And let's just start off by saying, do you think this is worth the hype? Absolutely. I'm obsessed with this palette. I have a full review on it, and I think that this palette is probably the most used palette on my YouTube channel. I've done so many different tutorials with it. Everything about this palette is just a yes for me. I love these colors so much. If you like warm tones, then this palette will definitely keep you happy. I think that any negatives definitely have to do with the Jaclyn Hill part of this palette and not the actual quality of the palette, because the quality is phenomenal. I actually have it on my eyes today. I used this to highlight, this one as a transition shade. I used this color in my outer corner and this neutral shimmery shade all over my lid. And it was just a super easy eye look for a natural makeup today. I honestly, I said this in my review and I got so many thumbs down on that video, but I just don't understand why anyone could not like it other than not liking Jaclyn Hill. This palette is just so freaking good. So I definitely recommend this palette to you 100%, especially now that it's on Ulta. So you can get fair shipping prices, and I figured I would just go through and swatch a few shades from each palette just to give you guys a feel, maybe 2 shimmers and 2 mattes. So my favorite shades in the palette, I really like this pink shade. It's like that. Another one I really like is this cranberry shade right here. So there's 2 shimmers. And then these 2 matte shades right here are my absolute favorites. So there's some of the shades. Okay, so some more palettes that are super hyped up for 2017 would have to be this Juvia's Place palettes. Right now I have the Saharan 2 in my hand and the Zulu, which is some of their most recent palettes. These are absolutely stunning. 100% worth the hype. I want to buy everything that Juvia's Place comes out with. Just look at these colors. They are so beautiful, and these palettes are $17. And you can get them for less, when they're on sale or with affiliate codes. So just absolutely 100%. These are so, so good. The mattes are really, really good, blendable, pigmented, but the shimmers are phenomenal. They're just stunning. The shimmers remind me of the Jaclyn Hill ones. So I'll just swatch a few. Let's do the blueberry shade. Look at that. Look at that pigment. We'll do the green shade because I'm feeling colorful. There's the green one. And then here's the burgundy. And let's swatch the yellow, because sometimes it's hard to get a pigmented yellow. There you go. Bam. So I did 2 colors from each palette. These are just stunning. You literally can't beat the pigment from Juvia's Place because these were made with people of color in mind. They are a black-owned brand, so obviously if you have darker skin, you need to have very potent pigment for it to show up. So that's why these are just amazing, so pigmented. So next we're going to talk about a palette that is not worth the hype for me personally, and this is the Colourpop Yes Please palette. It just looks like this. And a lot of things about this palette are great. The price point, the color scheme. I think a lot of people really love this, and I can see why they love it. Mine is messy because it dropped, and if it looks funny, it's because every single color fell out of the palette, so I put it back into the color scheme that I would like better, because I felt like the way they had it was so like mixed up. So I went like lightest to darkest, which is what I prefer in an eyeshadow palette. I know I'm weird, but I always do that in my mind. So when it fell out of the pan, I was just like, I'm gonna redo this the way I would want the palette. So this palette is good. Don't get me wrong, I actually bought it as a Christmas present for one of my friends because I know that she really liked the color scheme and she was talking about this palette. And I think that it's really nice if you're a beginner or you don't have a ton of makeup. But for me, like, I just have these shades over and over and over again, so none of these shades are special to me. And I just wish, like, again, for a beginner, great, but for me, I wish there was more intensity. Like, the darkest shade in here, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's just not that dark. Like, when I go in with this palette, I definitely have to go in with other colors because the darkest shade, I'll show you guys. See, like, that's just, it's not enough for me. I want it, like, I need something darker, more pigmented. So, I mean, the shimmers are pretty. Here's the gold. Like, it's alright. Like, again, for a beginner, I really like it. And I know everyone on YouTube and Instagram and everything loves this palette, but for me, I bought it like the third time it released, and I've only used it a few times because I could honestly totally live without this palette. So, okay, so another palette that I've been loving is the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. It just looks like this. I love the packaging. It's just so cute. Like the little peaches here, I just adore. I have a full video like doing swatches and a review of this. I'll have a link down below in case you guys are interested. But this is what it looks like. It smells amazing and it's just beautiful. I love this color scheme. I love that I have tons of options. I have very light shades, transition shades, medium tone shades, and then very dark deepening shades. So I really love this as a whole. I think that the formula is really nice. I've had no trouble working with it at all, and I just think it's really nice to come up with looks with this palette. Just something about this color scheme is peachy and like peachy perfection for me. So yeah, I really like this palette, and I did see quite a little bit of hype there for a bit on this palette. I think it's died down some now, but I do think that this one is worth it, and if you really like matte shades, then I really like this palette. So I'm just swatching a few shades. I did the peach. Okay, all of these are peaches. I don't know what I'm even talking about, but there's 4 of the shades. Or sorry, I guess I should do it on camera. There you go. I also just have to say that I prefer this palette over the chocolate bar type one. That's the Sweet Peach palette, I think it's called. I just do not find myself reaching for that. I even like put it in front of me and like try to use it, and I'm just so uninspired. I've only used it probably like 4 times, and I was thinking about doing a blog sale, but I don't really know how those work. If you guys would be interested in something like that, of like makeup that I never use, or like, I don't know. I was kind of debating on the idea, especially for that palette, because I literally never use it. But I definitely prefer this. I think the peach tones in this are a lot more like true to peach. There's a lot of other random shades in the Sweet Peach palette. Okay, so we're going back and forth. So here's another palette that I don't think is worth the hype. I wanted to do a full review on this palette, but I just haven't found the time. This is the Carity Just Peachy palette. I've seen all over Facebook. I see this constantly, the Carity eyeshadows, and they like say like, these eyeshadows are busting in the 3 billion makeup industry. These eyeshadows are the best in the industry. Like, I see sponsored posts for them all the time. And I think that's what kind of like hyped it up. And I've seen a few people use it. I saw Nikki Tutorials use it. So I ended up buying one just for the heck of it. It's $25 and you get 15 shades, which isn't horrible. And it's like nice packaging. It has a little mirror. I have to tell you, I was let down by this palette. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I don't think it's worth the hype. The peachy shade, or the shimmer shades, are really nice, and I love this palette mixed with the Just Peachy Mattes palette. But the mattes in here, first of all, there's barely any. Second of all, like, you cannot build these up. It's another palette, like, I know this dark shade right here looks dark, but I swear, like that's what you get off from it. Like I'm digging my finger in and that's like barely anything. And I just need more. I mean, it doesn't look that bad right there, but I mean, for that to be the darkest shade in the palette, like I need a deeper range. But I think that the shimmer shades are absolutely stunning. I'll swatch a few of those for you guys because that's what stands out here. There's the shimmery shades. They're absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Stunning. But the mattes just are fails for me. So another palette that's worth the hype for me is the Violet Voss Ride or Die palette. It just looks like this. Obviously you guys can see that it has holographic packaging, which is so beautiful in my ring light lighting, but I love this palette. I know that it's expensive and they are available on Sephora now, which I think is cool. Hopefully you guys can see that this palette is well loved, but I think this palette is so good. I just love the color scheme. I love all the warmth. I definitely don't reach for this cool side right here, like these two, like the bottom part of these two rows, other than the black. I really don't use that often, to be honest, but I think this is great that you can literally do anything that you want with this palette. You have matte highlighting shades, you have shimmery highlighting shades, you have transition shades, you have warm, you have cool, you have lid shades, deepening shades, smoky shades, pops, like kind of pops of color. I mean, not like super out there, but neutral pops. Like this shade right here, Amy, is my absolute favorite in the palette. You can see it's just a beautiful reddish pinky shade, which I love, and I just think that this palette is super nice, and I've never done a look with this that I didn't like. This shade Stephanie, oh my gosh, this is so creamy and beautiful. And then let's do Isabella, I love too, and we can do April. Another palette that is not worth the hype for me is the Anastasia Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit. And I feel bad saying this because I love Nicole Guerrero. I think that she's amazing, super talented. Her Halloween tutorials literally knock me away every year. Like I was watching them this year and I was showing my entire family. I was like, look at her, look at her, look at her. Like she's just so talented. And I think that the packaging and everything on this is beautiful. But I have to say I never ever reach for it, and also one of the shades broke for me and something really weird happened. I went to fix it in the way that you're supposed to. I can't remember, I think I used alcohol. I believe I used alcohol. I don't know right now, but I know I looked it up and I did it the way that everyone says to do it. And you guys can see what happened. It like seeped from the pan and it like went pink everywhere, like the dye like seeped. And this is my favorite shade in the palette, Forever Young. And if I swatch it, it literally leaves a like pink stain after it, so I know I can't use it on my face. And my friend actually had a similar problem where she didn't even do the alcohol, but she got it and it seeped itself and they replaced it for her, but mine was so like far past after I bought it that I knew I couldn't do that. So I don't know, I'm really bummed about that, especially because the palette is so pretty. Like something about the formula is weird there. And I literally just never ever reach for this. I mean, I'm glad I have it because I wanted to support her. I love supporting collabs. If you guys want a video of like all collabs, just let me know because I'm obsessed with them. But yeah, I'm so sad about Forever Young. So there's a swatch of what Forever Young looks like. I don't know if you guys can tell, but as soon as I tried to wipe it off, it like turned completely like red. Like something about this shade, like okay, I just touched it and like it makes my fingers red. And look, I promise it's not other eyeshadow on there. I'll wipe it off on my clean part of makeup wipe. Still completely red. And there's like remnants of red left on my hand. So, I don't know. Maybe I can try and contact them and ask them about it. I know that they can't replace it, but I'm honestly just curious about what happened. Okay, so next up is the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, which just looks like this. I think the packaging is absolutely stunning. It's so pretty. And I went back and forth on buying this palette for quite a while because I was like, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. But I found a gift card that I'd forgotten about in my purse, and I was like, and it was the last one in the store, so I had to buy it. You know, that's like how it goes. If you want something, you're kind of trying not to buy it, but it's the last one. You're like, it's fate. We were meant to be together. So that's how I ended up with this palette. But I do think that this is worth the hype. I definitely saw mixed reviews, and I've seen people say that they don't use it that much anymore, but I personally really, really love it. I mean, you can tell it's not as loved because there's so many other palettes that I've been loving. Like, I just can't stop using my Morphe Jaclyn Hill one. But I do think that this color scheme is beautiful. I do think that I do think that they all apply beautifully. I think that the deep shades are super deep. I cannot speak apparently. I am very tired. But I do think that all the shades are beautiful. I love the lighter shades. They're so pretty. I love the pukey shade. So I really enjoyed this palette. I think it's my favorite naked palette. Like, I could live without the first one, definitely. I love the Naked Smoky palette. I think that is amazing. Like, between this palette and the Smoky palette, like, you would be completely covered. So yeah, let's just do a few shades. There's like the dark one. I don't know which one to do. That one's really pretty. Look at that, just like that shift. We'll do the pukey shade. And I just want to swatch all of them. We'll do En Fuego, which I love the name of. Look at that beautiful shade. So I did blow that off, but look at that shade. Okay, so I think I'm going to get killed for saying this, but a palette that I feel is not worth the hype is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. And don't get me wrong, I do like it. I think it's nice. I mean, all around, I think it is a beautiful palette, but I really don't understand the hype around it. Like, I don't understand why it got so much love. I mean, I know Jaclyn Hill raved about it, and that's, like, was a huge part, but, like, I just don't understand the hype around this palette, honestly. I mean, just for me, there's no, like, matte highlight shade. Like, this one is a transition shade, which I'm sure for other people, they don't have that problem unless you're, like, white as a ghost like me. And, like, something about, like, just the color scheme is off for me. Like, the darkest shades are shimmers, which I don't like. And I don't know, I find myself, there's a look that I love to do with this palette, which I've done before. And it's, like, using the purple tone shades, and that's, like, my favorite look that I do every single time I use this palette. But for some reason, I just don't feel creative. I feel like I end up doing the same thing every time I do use this palette. And even the shimmer shades, they just don't even speak to me that much. You've got a taupey purple, a gold, and a cranberry. Like, I know, like, there's only so many colors in a palette. Like, what more can you ask for? But it doesn't speak to me. And I liked it, and I got it because it was a limited edition, and it was supposed to be the last time that it ever came back. So I was like, I'll get it for my birthday. That's my excuse. Like, you know, this palette is never going to come back again, so I'm going to regret it if I don't get it. But then they made it permanent like a month after that. Am I surprised? No. But I don't know. It just, the quality is good, but the color scheme is off for me. I mean, I'll swatch them for you. Like, that's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it just, I don't know. Me and this palette, we don't match. It's like we just don't have chemistry. Here's Ladyship, which doesn't swatch that great, and Duchess, which swatched nice. Look how beautiful that is. Like, that is just stunning. I don't know why I don't love this palette. I really don't understand it. Okay, that, like, their Ladyship swatched horribly, but other than that, these are beautiful. So before I jump into the palettes that I don't own for one reason or another that are overhyped, I wanted to kind of give an honorable mention to two palettes that I think should be overhyped, that are so amazing, and I don't hear enough people talking about them. And these are the Dose of Colors palettes with 5 shades in them. And I am obsessed with these, you guys. I did like a first impression type, like I swatched them and did looks with each of the palettes forever ago when I first got them, and I keep using them. Like, I love them so much. They're so basic, but they're so beautiful and blendable, and the formula and the pigment, everything about them. You guys, I'm literally so obsessed with Dose of Colors right now. Don't even get me started. But this is Baked Browns, and this is all just like nice, warm, neutral type brown shades. Just looks like this. It did come with a flimsy little brush, and it does have a little tiny mirror. But I really, really love this palette. I think that, like, for beginners, it's super easy. Like, it's such an easy palette to just be like, you put this here, this here, this here, and like just go down the line and be like done, because it's not filled with too many shades to where you're like, I'm overwhelmed. But then they have the Marvelous Mauves one, which is all mauve shades, and these are the prettiest mauves ever. I love these so much. Like, I just can't get over how beautiful this little palette is. Like, these are the prettiest purple tone mauves ever. Like, this shade right here is my obsession. I don't know if you guys can tell. And this one too is really beautiful. Okay, so quickly, because I know this video is forever long, the Subculture from ABH, negative. I had that. I returned it. It was horrible to work with. I eventually did figure out how to make it work, and I followed one of the ABH artist tips, and you just have to literally work so carefully with that palette. It's ridiculous, and I literally don't trust any of their palettes now. I don't want to buy any palette from them because I'm like, I don't want to have to relearn how to do eyeshadow just to use your palette. Another overhyped palette would be the Morphe 3502, and literally, you guys, just picture that palette and then cover the bright shades that really draw your eyes in, and guess what? It looks like every other neutral palette in the planet. Literally, there's a few bright shades that you could get anywhere else. Like, literally, you could buy just like 2 bright shades, add them to your collection, and you would have the same exact thing, because literally it's nothing different. Like, I saw people like going like crazy for this palette, and literally it's so similar, it's ridiculous. So I will not be purchasing the 3502 palette. Every time I think of it, I think of Jackie Ina saying the 350 R2D2 palette. Another super hyped up palette was the Tartelette Toasted palette, which does look beautiful. I did want it. I told myself no. The Naked Heat palette is very similar to it, so, you know, whichever one you want to go with. You know, I like the Tartelette palette formulas. Also, overhyped Natasha Denona. Kill me. I want her palette so bad. I don't need them. I don't need them. I cannot tell you how many videos I've watched about them, and I know that I don't need them. It's just people say that they're the best ever, so I'm like, are they really? Like, what am I missing out on? But I know that I don't need them, so I can't speak on those, but I know that they are overhyped, and it's getting to me. So that's pretty much everything for this video. Those are all the overhyped palettes of 2017 so far, and my thoughts on them. If you guys agree or disagree, I would love to know what your favorite palettes of this year have been, what palette you thought wasn't worth it, you know, whatever you're feeling, I would love to know. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.